from over-the-top tax, also known as OTT, to a 12% tax on data bundles. Some people would say it's more like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. I don't know how true this is, but thank you for joining us. My name is Daniel Rubakene, and today we are taking a look at the government's decision to replace OTT with a 12% tax on data bundles. What do you have to say?
I'm really very surprised. When I heard the issues of 12% tax increment or putting taxation on internet services, it was a shock to me.
The government of Uganda has replaced OTT with a new 12% tax on data bundles this new financial year 2021-2022. The new tax took effect on the 1st July 2021.
The issue of removing the tax on OTT and diverting it to bundles is just like giving it another name. And I think it will have some slight impact, of course, on education, because most of the students now do more of e-learning, so they will be affected. But generally, the statistics of people who use internet across the country is quite minimum. So people might not feel it. Whoever can afford to buy data will definitely afford to pay the tax. But it will be an impact. Of course, you know, direct taxes are always more visible than indirect taxes. So this is an indirect tax that might not be openly felt, but it will have a little bit of impact on the internet users. So I think maybe what we can do is to try and control the data usage. And this is the time now for people to prioritize on how you need to use your data. You may lessen on the charts and concentrate more on productive things like education, research, and all other perspectives that you want to use the internet as a benefit to you.
I believe it's a great step for the government to scrap the OTT tax. In an economy such as ours, where businesses are growing and are continuously learning to depend on the internet and its use, and a lot of services depend on the use of the internet needs and must be affordable to each and every person. So imposing a tax on already expensive internet, we pay the highest rates of internet in the whole East African region. Now, adding to that, the digital divide gets bigger, which means there is less access to education for many people across the board. There's less access to information because still certain social media platforms consume more data than others. And in such a situation where people are faced with high internet prices, they tend to have to ration what they are going to use for a day. Take, for example, business owners who are using Facebook and Instagram. Now, if they have to pay 2,000 shillings per day to market their products, and they cannot afford that because it now has to go up to 6,000 shillings, they are left with not much to do but to ration and think of how best they can get their work across the board.
About taxes, there is a lot of arrogant move which is being taken by the government at the moment. I'm sorry to use the word arrogant move. It is very unfortunate that during the hardest time like this of COVID-19, the government is coming with policies, with proposals like lifting and increasing tax on people.
This is very unfair because this is going to cause increase in the prices of the data that people are going to buy, and moreover the internet is very slow. So me as a student, I feel like data being expensive and the internet being slow, this is going to hinder my access to online services because I'm not going to be able to access the internet with a slow network, and yet I have to attend lectures. And then also during the pandemic, a lot of businesses, agencies, schools and institutions decided to use online.
Many countries in the world, they have developed because there is free internet. They have developed because there is limited charges on internet services. A case in point is Rwanda. In Rwanda, we have a street whereby there is free internet in the city, Kigali. In Kigali, there is a street where you have free internet. There are offices, many public places of free internet. And even the charges they give to the citizens is very, very minimal, close to zero. But when you come to Uganda, if you hear that there is need of levying 12% of tax on internet, it is a shame. It is a big shame. As a member of parliament, I am confident we are resuming work on 11th of this month. If we go back to parliament, we will definitely try our level best to ensure that this kind of policy does not pass, to ensure that we fight this policy to the dot.
The introduction of the 12% tax on internet, clearly, personally, I don't agree with the government on this, because if you realize the world is growing at a very high speed, and all this has been enabled by internet through innovations. So the government should look at this also, that internet is not a threat to them. And we should, however, also know that in this generation, internet is the main enabler to innovations and development to a state. Everything nowadays is done on internet. For example, businesses run on internet. For example, you look at the online shops here we have in Uganda, Jumia, Naya, and so many others that are still growing.
To me, I see leaving out OTT and introducing that 12% is like moving from the saucepan to fire. Why? Because for someone to access any platform, you have to be levied this tax. But then with OTT, you'd find that at least some platforms did not require OTT for you to access them, like YouTube, like Zoom. So people would be able to study online even without OTT.
To me, it is wrong, because government continues to encourage students to study via Zoom, business to transact online, and even meeting to happen virtually. Yet, it's making more and more expensive for Ugandans to use internet. But they are also encouraging that the data that they should do study via online, and they are making internet expensive. Honestly speaking, this is making hard for students to study online.
The taxation should go down instead, not increasing. Like right now in a period of COVID-19, learning is online. Everything is online. Businesses is online. If you put 12%, that is crippling the economy. You are going to put a lot of people off business. They will not afford to manage it. Why do you have to put the tax at this particular moment? In actually, we believe in a saying that game of Porogan, when there is a big issue that has attacked the family, we join hands together. This is a pandemic. The coronavirus is a pandemic issue. It's no longer a epidemic, but a pandemic. So we need to join hands together. Let us avoid these issues of supporting government policies that really deteriorate progress in our society.
Regarding the 12% internet tax chargeable currently, I'm positive about it. This is because it is going to widen our tax base, since it is less avoidable other than the previous OTT. By so doing, we'll be able to finance our government activities as a country and members of the country. And the other thing is that we will be able to cover up the activities that are not providing tax currently. Thank you.
I see the haulage tax will help the community as well, but on the side of the government, actually mostly they will benefit the more, because at the moment most of people have dropped back to VPN, of which VPN can also give you access to social medias without even OTT, unless the companies, the bigger companies, who normally do the monthly subscription.
I think trying to balance the 12% they have put right now is a little bit fair if you compare to the OTT that people used to pay. The only thing is that those days you used not to pay OTT when you want to access internet out of social media. Basically, it was targeting social media, but then other things you would do it without paying OTT. But right now the government has generalized it, and everyone to access internet you have to pay the 12%.
However, some internet service providers went the extra mile by saying they are going to pay this 12% tax on behalf of their internet users. Honorable Abel Lillian, what do you say about this? Because we have noticed up to now, it's making a week that some of these internet service providers have not yet implemented the 12%.
That statement is very political. They're not going to do that. You see, the aim of any business person is to make profits. So for them to think that they're going to be doing charity or to confuse customers by saying we are going to pay taxes for you, it's just an indirect tax. So there's no running away from it.
With tax, we have to get used to taxes, because taxes will be coming by the way. At the moment, even parking taxes is there. If you park your car, so we have to get used to taxes.
Taxation basically in Uganda is a good thing. It's mandatory, and it's one of the primary sources of revenue for the government. So it's not something bad. But the only question that you need to ask is it necessary to tax a particular product? And if it is necessary, then is it the right time? Now we are looking at the 12% that they have put on internet. Right now, Uganda, together with the whole world, we are battling a pandemic right now. So you'll find that there are other sectors that, actually most of the sectors in the country, we really need to use internet for a better production.
We have seen the 12% is too much.
Uganda is an East African country where the amount we pay for internet access is really very high, generally in East Africa.
I want to appeal to fellow leaders in various political parties, irrespective of political affiliation. Please let us come together to protect our citizens of Uganda. Otherwise, the issues of taxation, 12%, it is a big challenge. It's a very, very big challenge. And we are going to fight it to ensure that it does not go through.